was established in July 1968 by American engineers named Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore. The founders of Intel, Noyce and Moore, are well-known, skilled, middle-aged technologists that has an established reputation. The name Intel Corporation originates from the word integrated electronics. Intel Corporation is an American manufacturer of semiconductor computer circuits. Intel's headquarters is located in Santa Clara, California, USA. Before founding the Intel Corporation, Noyce and Moore were employees at the Fairchild Semiconductor Company. Robert Noyce was the general manager at the company at a division of Fairchild Camera and Instrument. He is also known as the co-developer of the Silicon Integrated Circuit in 1959. Gordon Moore was the head of research and development at the Fairchild Semiconductor Company. Once Noyce and Moore founded Intel, they decided to recruit other employees of the Fairchild Semiconductor Company. One of them was known as Andrew Grove, a Hungarian-born American businessman. Thus, for the first 30 years of the Intel Corporation journey, Noyce, Moore, and Grove operated as the company's chairman and chief executive officer. Robert Noyce was the Intel CEO from 1968 to 1975. Then Gordon Moore took over the CEO from 1975 to 1987, and the position was passed to Andrew Grove from 1987 to 1998. The current CEO of Intel is named Patrick P. Gilsinger. Intel Corporation is well known for manufacturing microprocessors that are used in a majority of the computer across the globe. Intel is also the world's biggest manufacturer when it comes to semiconductor chips, which is used in a majority of the electronic devices in the world. In less than 1 year of opening and operation, Intel introduced their first product to the world in April 1969. The product was a 3101 static random access memory, or known as SRAM. The particular product managed to put Intel in the world's eye as it was successful in outperforming competitors' products. This was a great achievement for Intel due to the fact that they were working in a short period and that the SRAMs were hard to develop. Some of the other products created by Intel were 4004, 8008, 8080 and 8800 microprocessors, 7th generation of Core microprocessors, 10th generation Intel Core Mobile, 3rd generation Xeon Scalable Server Processor, and 11th generation Intel Core Mobile processors. The Intel's corporation commitment is to create world-changing technologies that is capable in improving the lives of every individual in the world. Intel inspires to 1. Drive innovation that makes the world securer, builds healthy and lively communities, and boosts productivity. 2. Harness the company's influence around the world to improve society, business, and the world. And number 3. To push the company and the industry's peer to be more liable, all-encompassing, and maintainable.
The export strategies and practices, goods and services preparation. Intel's supply chain environment is both complicated and dynamic, with all risks mutating and new risks emerging over time, resulting in an unlimited lot of activity that may go wrong at any one time. Intel cannot control hazards such as natural catastrophe, but by having proactive strategy in place, Intel can mitigate their effects. Protecting against risk of supplier support continuance. Escrow accounts are implemented to mitigate production risks associated with a supplier financial instability or a failure to offer necessary support for his or her production equipment and software. This account includes vital supplier copyright material to support the production environment of the client. The content of a user account should comprise all paper and software code software required for total self-sufficiency. In this part, Intel examines some of the challenges associated with employing escrow account efficiently as a risk reduction method and provide fresh, innovative alternative. Intel's ultimate objective is to avoid any disruption to production, and Intel hope to never need admission to the escrow account content. Supplier may profit from creating this account to assure ongoing delivery, which might result in the acquisition of initial or prospective business. Exploring market opportunities. Implement environmental performance objective into business operation. In 2008, Intel has become the nation's biggest voluntary consumer of renewable energy. Intel incorporates non-market issues into its strategy analysis and monitoring. Intel's strategy is driven by consumer demand and product innovation to position the company as a worldwide leader in IT. Intel positions itself as an innovative leader to the business and worldwide society. Intel promotes innovation in text and commerce, health and environment, media, communication, and privacy when fostering innovation via public policy. Intel always investigates how technology may improve life. Intel developed new market possibilities while expanding and enhancing technological applications such as boosting healthcare and education for underserved population. Intel employs active sensing to encourage development in both marketplace and non-market business elements. Arranging goods and services, reducing procurement risk through the internet negotiation. Intel Corporation opted to implement internet negotiating tool and procedure upward of 5 years ago. Intel wanted to evaluate that what advantage such technology will bring to the strategic sourcing effort, particularly in terms of cost reduction, and how we might utilize this new tool and procedure to complement Intel's existing bargaining technique. In addition to cost saving, Intel increased operational efficiency by decreasing inherent risk of the sourcing process. Intel Internet Negotiation include EFRX as well as on negotiation event or one, sometimes other missions refer to one as e-auction. ERFX is the execution of RFX online, selling the goods and services. Currency risk reduction. When acquiring a good from a foreign supplier, the inherent volatility of the exchange rate provides fluctuating cost base for the buyer. This unpredictably might have a major influence on project or budget expenses when purchasing capital equipment. Depending on the form of pricing, capital equipment prices are established whenever the agreement becomes active and whenever purchase order is placed. Since lead time and verification ramping cycles span 1 to 2 years, overall average cost of a piece of equipment is susceptible to the volatility of the foreign currency rate through this time frame. The volatility impacts the income stream and financial statement of supplier, while it impacts the depreciating capital cost of purchaser. Both the provider and the purchaser attempt to stabilize the volatility and mitigate the risk associated with their individual income and expenses. There are several strategies available for mitigating this danger. The most consistent strategy for mitigating this danger is to comprehend the portfolio of facilities and employ a rigorous method for selecting the optimal methodology. Buyer currency pricing. With pricing in the buyer currency, the supplier assumes the whole risk of exchange rate swing. This risk might have an immediate effect on the revenue of the provider. Thus, the majority of providers will hedge the whole exposure. Unfortunately, hedging revenue does not totally minimize risk since sale revenue are uncertain. In circumstances when hedged sale revenue does not materialize because the buyer cancels a transaction, the supplier would be obligated to unwind hedge and account for the hedge impact in other income statement on the balance sheet.
Now I will present about the import process. So what is import process? Importing goods means bringing in something from another country, and it is passed through the custom clearance process on arrival. Import trade is regulated by customs authorities. They control the flow of goods and are responsible for the collecting duties and taxes. So now I will explain about the import process in the details. First step is a buyer or importer receive shipping advice from the overseas exporter or seller. Second step is a buyer or importer receive shipping document including bills of lading and a commercial invoice from the overseas exporter or seller. 2A step is the case when the letter of credit is involved in the transaction. Bank shall inform the buyer or importer when the set of a document has arrived from the bank where the overseas exporter or seller has earlier nominated the payment of the goods against the letter of credit issued by the buyer or importer. Third step is a carrier or shipping agent is issued arrival notice of vessel wherein shipping charge payables are stated. Step 4 is a buyer or importer issue forwarding instruction to his appointed forwarding agents, together with all the relevant shipping document. Step 5 and Step 5A is a forwarding. Agent submit the imports declaration electronically to custom using a software application, which after clearance is approved, and if any custom duty or tax is due, shall also be paid via electronic funds transferred by the forwarding agents. In cases where the custom clearance is dependent upon the approval of the OGA, the forwarding agent shall submit all the relevant permits and documents to the appropriate OGA for their processing and inspection, if necessary. Once their processing is completed, the OGA would submit an electronic approval into the custom system. Step C is a forwarding agent checks on the ETA of vessel with the carrier shipping agent. Step 7 is forwarding agent shall arrange for the exchange of the original bill of lading for the delivery order, which is issued by the carrier or shipping electronically to the port terminal, and shipping charge payable shall be undertaken by the forwarding agents. Step 8 is a forwarding agent applies to the port terminal for the gate pass. Gate pass is issued to the forwarding agent, and the issuance is done when the custom has released the whole status on the container. In all the cases, the forwarding agent shall hold an active ledger account with the terminal. Last step is Step 9 is transport order. In a parallel, the forwarding agent issue a transport order to the container company to pick up the container from the terminal for delivery to the importer or buyer. In the submission of the order, a copy of the delivery order and the gate pass are also handed over, as these documents are required proof of the authorization for the pickup.
The term logistic refers to the entire process of acquiring, storing, and transporting resources to their ultimate destination. This process may also be referred to as supply chain management. The process of locating and assessing possible distributor and supplier is an essential component of logistic management. A person who is in charge of overseeing logistics is referred to as logistician. Originally, a term used to describe the process by which military personnel obtain and store their equipment and supplies. The word logistic is now most commonly associated with the military. The term is frequently used in the world of business, particularly by manufacturers, to describe the movement of goods and materials from location A to location B. The term transportation mode refers to the many methods used to move our product over land, air, and sea. Pipelines for gas oil transport, cable for internet and electricity supply, and space are the other option of satellite. The term of the contract between exporter and importer also dictate the mode of transportation. Logistic or physical distribution. After a product has been manufactured, it must be physically moved from a company warehouse to the customer. Shipping, warehouse, inventory management, order processing, and fulfillment are all part of the e-commerce supply chain activities involved in physical distribution. Multiple of fulfillment centers within a single distribution network are commonly used in physical distribution to reduce shipping costs and expedite delivery time for customer orders. Intel has focused on value chain optimization since supply chain became popular 15 years ago. When this was first introduced, it meant working with thousands of vendors and customers to improve efficiency and reduce costs. Intel supply chain is now being used in innovative ways to help the company achieve this goal while also creating new revenue streams. Throughout the course of the last decade, Intel has made efforts to broaden its business offering beyond personal computers and servers by introducing products and services that can be used to program data, analyze data, store data, and transform data with particular emphasis on Internet of Things (IoT) technology. The Internet of Things Group (IoTG) of the company, which was established as a separate business unit, made use as a variety of different technologies, including sensor, gateway, cloud and IT technologies, the rapid emergence of a large pool of potential customers from a variety of industries, such as logistics, transportation, and supply chain management, has quickly transformed this market into a sizzling one of expansion. Intel Supply Chain Business Unit ponder whether or not it could assist the world's largest technology company in expanding its customer base to include supply chain customers. The importance of physical distribution. Firstly is to support faster shipping time. There is connection between faster shipping options that are also more affordable and increase customer loyalty. This is especially true in context of online marketplaces such as Intel, which have raised the bar for how quickly items should be delivered. Physical distribution can use to cut down on shipping time as an alternative to shipping all orders from a single warehouse. This method involves strategically storing inventory in multiple locations or in a central location based on where your customers are located in order to minimize the time it takes for orders to be shipped. Next is reduce physical distribution costs. As a result, Intel will not only save money for themselves, but they will also be able to pass those savings on their consumer, either by offering free shipping in exchange for a certain amount of money spent or by charging real-time carrier rate. For example, selling product throughout multiple US regions can minimize the average shipping zone a cargo is sent to reach its destination if Intel consumers are dispersed around the country. Improve customer satisfaction. Having a well-planned physical distribution network not only benefits Intel business bottom line, but it also enhances the customer overall satisfaction and experience. Intel can save money and reduce the time it takes for customers to receive their order by optimizing shipping route and storing inventory closer to the customer. Next is mode of transportation. When it comes to international business, the most successful company is the one that is able to move cargo in the speediest and most cost-effective way possible. So one of the most important part of transportation management is setting up a good supply chain that use some of the most common type of transportation such as road, maritime, air and more. The first is road transportation. In the field of logistics, the mode of transportation that is utilized the most frequently and extensively is road transportation. Road transportation has existed for a long period of time than any other mode of transportation and is the mode of transportation that is utilized the most frequently in logistics. Because of ongoing advancement in vehicular technology and road infrastructure, road travel offers the greatest degree of adaptability and is subject to the fewest number of geographical constraints of the four primary modes of transportation. Maritime transportation. The transportation of goods across ocean has been an essential component of international trade ever since ancient times, and this trend continues today. The majority of all international trade is facilitated by the use of maritime transportation. Cargo ships are able to go practically anywhere there is a body of water, and they are the most cost-effective modes of transportation when it comes to moving the most amount of freight for the least amount of money. Lastly is air transportation. One of the most recent developments in transportation is aerial travel. Airplanes are playing a role that is becoming increasingly significant in both domestic and international commerce. When it comes to the delivery of goods, air transport is the mode of transportation that is experiencing the most rapid growth and offers the greatest time efficiency. As a result of advancement in aviation, an increasing number of businesses are choosing to rely on airplanes to transport high-value cargo and goods.
Hi and good morning. I am Shara Iman. I'm going to summarize 3 chapters that were included in Intercompany. The 3 chapters are chapter 2, 9 and 10. What I can conclude in chapter 2, the Intel business model of managing its supply chain to meet both internal and external expectations. The ICT industry as well as another firm looking to make a lasting impression on history they are learning from the company management approach. for its manufacturing and supply chain to work, Intel need a wide range of items or services from a wide range of international vendors to support their profit investment. Aside from that, the Intel supply chain environment is complex and dynamic, with an almost infinite number of things that may go wrong at any one time due to the risk of changes and the emergence of another risk. In these cases of Intel preventive protection, such as reducing equipment lead times with capacity alternative, Intel has identified the risk it faces, assesses the likelihood that they will materialize, and it is effective. Furthermore, by using it is used to offset the risks associated with the supplier financial instability or late maintenance from their manufacturing equipment and software. It is standard procedure in the corporate sector for a third party to act as an escrow agent reserving and disbursing funds on behalf of the principal parties to a transaction. Eventually, Intel also provides risk reduction. Intel explores some of the issues connected with using escrow account efficiently and offer new innovative solution. Keeping the escrow account's content a secret is Intel's ultimate goal, and Intel hopes that they will never use or need to access it. However, Intel has many ways of handling the escrow accounts, securing their vendors to receive the goods as a direct result of the effort. Several innovative approaches to the management of supplier were developed. Is also helpful to the Intel supply. According to what I have read in Chapter 9, I believe that the term of imports refer to the process of moving goods from one nation to another. The import procedure from other countries, on the other hand, are required to go through the Malaysian customs clearance procedure each time they arrive in the country. This is a process that requires custom officials to control and authorize the movement of goods across international borders. It applies to both the export and import processes. Import procedures from other countries are also required to pay the necessary taxes and custom fees to comply with the regulation that govern the flow of product into Malaysia. Considering that the chapter is also associated with the Intel, based on the understanding, Intel is an international firm and the scope of the company import and export activity is virtually unbounded. Despite this, Intel must ensure that the required quantity of inventory or stock has been accumulated to satisfy the requirement of its domestic customers. Regarding both the chapter and the import process, there were a total of 13 pages covered. This stage is essential because it will ensure that the technique will be communicated to the customer in as much exact information as possible. Document contain any details such as commercial invoices, which involve that is issued from the exporter to the importer, bill of lading, transportation contract, and key details of the shipment, evidence of the good received in good condition when freight processes, packing list, detailed information of the cargo, how the delivery packet, marks and number that noted outside the shipment boxes, and export or import custom declaration, detail of the good used for, and export or import customs declaration used for, detail of the goods used for the custom clearance, and to calculate the duties and taxes of the cargo. In terms, what I can summarize from the chapter 10 is the last one. The procedure of identifying and evaluating potential distributors and suppliers is an important aspect of logistic management. The term logistician is given to the one is in charge of supervising the logistics of a certain situation. The word logistics, which was initially used to describe the process by which military personnel obtain and store their equipment and supplies, is now most commonly associated with the military. Originally, the word was used to describe the process by which military personnel obtain and store their equipment and supplies. Another phrase is commonly used in the world of business, particularly by manufacturers, to describe the transportation of the goods and material from point A to location B. One of the terms is called logistic. In addition, since the term supply chain sprang to prominence 15 years ago, Intel has planned or placed a strong emphasis on value chain optimization. Since its initial implementation, it has played an essential role in helping both customer and vendor improve their productivity and cut their expenses. In addition to this Intel supply chain, this is the reason that it's been leveraged innovatively to assist the corporation to reach the goal while also developing a new income stream. Road transportation is the form of transportation that is utilized the most frequently and widely in the field of logistics. This is because it is both inexpensive and efficient in terms of delivery. It also because road transportation has been around for a longer of time than any other method of transportation, and it is the kind of transportation that is employed the most frequently in logistics, as well as being liked by inter for extended period of the trip. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Thank you.
In conclusion, consumers' demand and product innovation drives Intel's strategy to position the company as a global leader in IT. Furthermore, the duration of the instrument and the provider's credit score would have a significant impact on the amount of hedging effort, which would most likely be passed on to the client in the form of higher equipment prices. Suppliers may benefit from a natural hedge between sales and expenses if they purchase the materials required to manufacture the technology in the consumer's currency. The phrase is commonly used in the business world, especially by manufacturers, to describe the movement of goods and materials from point A to point B. It is critical to understand both the benefits and drawbacks of each distribution method in order to run a successful supply chain. The mode of transportation that is used most frequently and extensively in the sector of logistics is road transportation. Road transportation has been around for longer than any other methods of transportation, and it is the mode of transportation that is used the most in logistics. Road travels, among the four basic modes of transportation, offers the greatest degree of versatility, and it subjects to the fewest amounts of geographical limits due to the continual development in automobile technology and road infrastructure. Cargo ships can travel almost everywhere there is a body of water, and they are the most cost-effective modes of transportation for having the most freight for the least amount of money. Aerial travel is one of the most recent breakthroughs in transportation. When it comes to product delivery, air transport is the mode of transportation that is growing the fastest and provides the most time efficiency. Air travel is becoming the most popular way of transportation, and this strategy contributes to the shipping's cost effectiveness.